Hey everybody, Katie here with Omi Crochet, and in today's tutorial we are going to be making this matching hat and scarf set. It's super easy to make, very beginner friendly. It just consists of single and double crochets, and one of the things that I like about this the most is there are not a lot of ends that you're going to have to weave in, even though we're changing color every other row. I'm going to show you how to do that without cutting your yarn at all for both the hat and the scarf. So I think that's nice because I really don't like sewing in ends. So let's get started. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. The supplies that I'll be using for today's tutorial are a pair of scissors, a yarn needle. For the hat, I will be using a 5mm crochet hook, and for the scarf, I will be using a 6mm crochet hook. And the yarn that I used is Red Heart Roll With It Melange in the color Hollywood. And if you're making both the hat and the scarf, go ahead and get 2 cakes of that. And I also used Bernat Softee cotton in the color Feather Gray, and you will need 2 skeins of this. And I will put a link in the description box below for all of the supplies that I used. We're going to start out by making a magic circle, and then go ahead and chain up 2. And the chain 2 is going to count as our first double crochet. We need 12 double crochets into the magic circle. We already have 1, so we're going to make 11 more. So go ahead and yarn over, draw up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And just continue doing that until you have a total of 12. Once you have your 12 stitches, go ahead and pull your tail end to close. And then we are going to skip over our chain 2, and into the first double crochet, we are going to slip stitch. And this slip stitch, the top of it, it acts as the top of the double crochet for the chain 2. Now we are going to insert our hook into the next double crochet right here. And go ahead and just lay your gray yarn over your hook, and then pick up the colorful yarn. And then we are going to pull through and through. Now we're going to drop the gray yarn. We do not want to crochet over that. And chain up 1. And this chain 1 counts as our first single crochet. Into the same space, we're going to place another single crochet. So insert your hook, draw up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through 2. So now we have the chain 1, which counts as a stitch, and the single crochet. We have 2 into that same space. And for the rest of this round, each of the stitches will get 2 single crochets. So go ahead and work those up. And now that we're at the end, this is our last space right here where we need to place 2 single crochets. And at the end of round 2, you should have a stitch count of 24. And from here, we are going to skip over the chain 1 and slip stitch into the first single crochet. And that slip stitch acts as the top part of the single crochet for the chain 1. And now insert your hook into the next stitch, lay the colorful yarn over, and pick up the gray. Pull through and through. For round 3, we're going to start out by chaining up 2, and that counts as our first double crochet. Again, make sure you drop this and do not crochet over it. So the first stitch gets 1 double crochet and the following stitch gets 2. The next stitch will get 1 and the following stitch will get 2, and that is going to be the repeat for round 3. 1 double crochet, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around. I'm now at the end of round 3 with 2 stitches remaining. Into that first stitch, place 1 double crochet, and the last and final stitch right here will get 2. And at the end of round 3, you should have a total of 36 stitches. And now we are going to go over the chain 2 and slip stitch to the first double crochet. Insert your hook into the next stitch, lay your yarn over, and pick up the colorful yarn. And now we're going to pull through and through. For round 4, go ahead and chain up 1, which counts as your first single crochet. The next stitch will get 1 single crochet, and the following will get 2. And that is going to be the repeat for round 4. 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2, all the way around. Coming up to the end of round 4 with 3 stitches remaining. In the first 2 stitches, place 1 single crochet. And the last and final stitch will get 2 single crochets, and at the end of round 4, you should have a stitch count of 48. Skip over your chain 1, slip stitch into the first single crochet, insert your hook into the next stitch, lay your yarn over, pick up the gray, pull through and through. To start out round 5, go ahead and chain up 2, which counts as your first double crochet, and into the next 2 stitches, place 1 double crochet. And then the following stitch will get 2 double crochets. And that's going to be the repeat for round 5. 1, 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 1, 2, all the way around. And now that we're at the end of round 5, we have 4 stitches remaining. Into the first 3 stitches, place 1 double crochet. And then into that last stitch, place 2 double crochets. And at the end of round 5, you should have a stitch count of 60. We're going to skip over the chain 2, slip stitch, insert your hook into the next stitch, drop your yarn over, and pick up the colorful yarn, pull through and through. For round 6, go ahead and chain up 1, which counts as a single crochet, and then single crochet into the next 3 spaces, and into the next stitch, place your increase of 2 single crochets. So in the first 4 stitches, they'll each get 1. That 5th stitch we'll get 2. And now we're at the end of round 6 with 5 stitches remaining. Into the first 4 stitches, place 1 single crochet, and then into that last stitch, place 2 single crochets. And at the end of round 6, you should have a total of 72 stitches. And then we're gonna skip over the chain 1, slip stitch into the first single crochet of the round. Insert your hook into the next stitch, drop the colorful yarn, and pick up the gray, pull through and through. So at the end of round 6, the diameter of the circle should be at 5 inches. Now that we've finished up round 6, we are now on round 7, which is going to be a double crochet round. That's going to start out with chaining up 2, and then each stitch around will get 1 double crochet, and at the end of every round you should have a stitch count of 72. And we are going to close up each round just as we have been, and then after that we're going to switch over to the single crochet round, which is chain up 1, which counts as a single crochet, and then 1 single crochet in each stitch around, again having 72 stitches. So go ahead and work rounds 7 all the way through round 26, and then we will meet up at the end. Once you've completed rounds 7 through 26, go ahead and try the hat on. If you have enough length, then I will show you how I'm going to close it up in a minute. I needed just a little more length to mine, so I went ahead and slip stitched to the first single crochet, chained up 1, and I did 1 more round of single crochets. So like I said, just try your hat on, determine if you want a little more length or not, and then we will meet up at the end of round 27. So now I'm at the end of round 27. I went ahead and cut my yarn, and you're just going to go ahead and pull it through. Don't slip stitch to close. We are going to close with the invisible join. So what you're going to do is you're going to locate your first single crochet of the round, and you're going to go under the whole stitch, and then go back over here to the last stitch of the round and just go through the back loop. And then I am also going to go down through the post of the stitch behind this loop right here. And then just pull your yarn just tight enough to where it looks like another stitch. And the last thing that you're going to have to do is weave in the ends. The final measurements of the hat end up being 8.5 wide by, flatten it out a bit, by about 8.5 tall. Moving on to the scarf, it measures to be 8 inches wide by 100 inches long, and I know it's really long, but I like my scarves to be super long and be able to wrap them around a couple of times. Feel free to make it as long as you want. There's no multiple or anything. It doesn't matter if your chain's odd or even. You can make it as long or as short as you want. And as you can see, I did the opposite for the scarf. We did the gray double crochets in the hat, and for the scarf we worked the double crochets in the colorful yarn, and then the gray is the single crochets. I don't know, I think it looks nice together. So let's get started on the scarf. For the scarf, I will be using a 6mm crochet hook, and we are going to start out by making a slip knot. For my scarf, I ended up chaining 301, and that puts it at about 100 inches long. So go ahead, if you're following along and want the same dimensions as mine, then go ahead and chain 301. But for this video, I am just going to do a small sample. Once you have your chain made, go ahead and flip it over, and into the second chain, we're going to be working into this back hump right here. And all we're going to do is place one single crochet into each chain. So insert your hook, draw up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And just keep working down that super long chain and make your single crochets. I've completed my little sample chain right here, and I put in my last single crochet, and now I'm going to chain up 2 and then pull up on your yarn a bit. Remove your hook, and then we are going to switch over to the colorful yarn. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie on to the first stitch over here on this side. So I am tied on, and the reason why I'm doing this is so that we don't have to cut our yarn throughout the project, just like how we did with the hat. We just keep carrying everything through, and there really aren't going to be that many loose ends to weave in at the end. We're going to start this out by chaining up 2, and that does not count as a stitch. So into that same stitch, go ahead and place 1 double crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then each stitch across is going to get a double crochet. So keep working your double crochets until you reach the end. Now I have reached the end. I placed my last double crochet, and again I'm going to chain up 2. Pull up your yarn a little bit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to insert our hook into the front loop of the last double crochet, and then we're going to go down through the bar, through this loop right here. So through the front loop, through this loop of the bar, and then we are going to pick up our gray yarn. Maybe it's wiggling around everywhere. Okay, go ahead and pull it tight and then pull through. And from here, chain up 1. Turn your work, and then you want to make sure that the colorful yarn is pushed back behind. You don't want it in front. So now what we're going to do is into each stitch, place 1 single crochet. And then once you get to the end of your row, chain up 2, pull up your yarn. If you want to put a stitch marker here so it doesn't pull out, you can. And after your chain 2, we are going to come back to our colorful yarn. We have our chain 2 already. Turn your work, and then into each stitch, double crochet. And I'm at the end of the double crochet round. Chain up 2. We're going to go through the front loop and through the bar of the stitch. And then you're going to pull through. and chain up 1. Turn your work and just keep repeating that until you have, let's see how many rows I did. So you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I did 10 rows in the colorful, which means that will put us at 11 rows with the gray. So I worked up a couple more rows so you could see what it looks like on the edge, and you are going to have the white coming up over the colorful and on every other row, and that is the way that it's supposed to look. So if that's how it's looking, you're doing it right. And then once you get to your last colorful row, you can just go ahead and finish off your double crochet, chain up 1, and then cut your yarn. Go ahead and pull it through, and then your last row will be a row of single crochets. So go down through the front loop and the post of the last double crochet stitch, chain up 1, turn your work, and then you can crochet right over your tail end. And then after you make your last single crochet, go ahead and chain up 1, cut your yarn, and pull through. And now you just have a couple loose ends that you're going to have to weave in. So for the finished scarf, I did go ahead and put tassels on the end of mine, and I just placed one on both ends, skipped a single crochet row, put one in the next, skip, next, skip. So I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tassels on my scarf. If you don't want them there, no biggie. You don't have to put them, but there they are, and we're done. We've got the matching hat and scarf set. I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.